you for your team and your gameplay. Because it's the first one, I thought I'd just have a little bit of a chat about, the very basics of the game. Just in case, hold on. Right, yeah, sorry about that delay. So you're looking at how do you win, basically? how do you win? And at the end of the day, Blood Bowl, like any game, is a optimization problem. And if you're playing on defense, you optimize space, and if you're on offense, you're optimizing time. So the offensive team starts the game with an advantage in that they control the tempo. They can score. They want to score on their turn 8, and they have full control of the ball and can do so at a time scale that they want. The defender can't set the time scale. The complete advantage that the defender has is space. So as you can see here on this setup, the defender can cover like the width of the pitch. And for them to score on turn 8, the offense needs to get to this area here by turn 7. So they have 7 turns to get to here. And you have 11 defensive players in the way. So you win on defense by either stealing the ball, or stealing the ball is an extension. You win on defense by forcing the offense to run out of time. Right? You win on defense by making the offense run out of time to get to this area, making them have to take risks to get to this area on time. And you do that by setting up screens, and you do that by, if you have killers, you do it by surgically removing any players that they put too far forward. You can't do that yet because you don't have any Mighty Blow, but when you do get to Mighty Blow and tackle and piling on, you're going to start wanting to use your fouls and your blitzes to check progress, waste time. So yeah, I'm just outlining here 2 basic setups. I haven't looked at your game yet, so you may well be using a perfect setup. This is my preferred defensive setup for rats against a bash team who are slow, because they need to get to this spot. If they're movement 6, they need to get to this spot, and even then they need 2 GFIs to score. And what this defensive setup does is it forces them to set up wide as well. Offset LOS means that they're more likely to wait this side. If they're playing optimally, they will set it like this, but I suspect what rookie coaches will do is they will see this and be worried and start placing players further back, which is sort of ideal for you because it means they have more ground to cover. If you think about it, every square that they're not taking on the turn 0 is a square they have to gain to get to here. Especially if you get kick and you can kick deep is another consideration. So yeah, Skaven are a tier 1 team. You don't have to think too hard sometimes, not with the plays, and they do have a lot of margin for error because Go Run is a movement 9. So that means 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So you can go you can stand him here and you'll be able to get all the way to here on the diagonal as well. So what that means is you've got a lot of leeway with your gutter runner positioning. If they're coming into, let's say the set of their drive is to come down this side, like this, you can put all your 4 gutters, let's get a better colour. Put all your gutters like here, 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 and as long as this one is a Saka, you're fine if they switch up because he can go all the way across and all the way down, all the way up. And these guys can come back around the screen. So yeah, that's just a couple of concepts. I appreciate that's a bit messy. So yeah, that's the gist of what you're trying to do. So when you're setting up on defense, your plan is to force them to make mistakes that let you get hits on the ball. When you're setting up on offense is a lot harder for Skaven. So let's clear this and talk about what your offense is going to start to look like. So on offense, let's say your opponent is now on defense, and they've set up in their standard protecting 5. a little bit deep because they respect your play, and it's your turn 1, right? It's turn 1 of the game, and you have to set up on offense. So your goal, even though you think that you're an elf team, is to score on your turn 8, while maximising your SPP gain as well. So if they're doing, this is the optimized setup. If they leave you more than 3 hits on the LOS, take all the 3 hits. But essentially, how I like to play, you have a thrower, so it's a bit different. Is that first off, check their movement. So for example, if they have a movement 7, a movement 8 werewolf or something, you have to remember that they can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in one go. So if the ball lands anywhere like here, you have to assume that they're going to play the ball and sack it. So your offense, your aim is to, on turn 1, if the kick is here, get it back to here, and assume that you're going to fail the pickup. Right? You have to act as if the pickup's going to fail and they're going to stroll in. And you kind of want them to do that because that will offset their defense. They will flood in an uneven way probably because they're new coaches, right? So let's say the ball is about here, like here, and you failed to pick it up. Well, they're going to start to come in like this, probably bring a werewolf in around this side, and ideally they're only going to move to about here, maybe put one here, put down to here. So yes, you can see there's already a gap for you to run through. And you can already start to plan around leaving their team behind. Because if they do this, if they go for the ball, they sacrifice their space. But at the same time, it forces your tempo. So yeah, I'm sort of rambling on a bit here, but it's quite difficult to put into words. And I only ever do this once a season, so my delivery is getting slightly better. But on offense, your essential goal is to, because you're movement 9, right? Let's count these squares quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So you only need to be at this level on turn 7. So as you can see, there's a lot less time pressure on you as a Skaven team because you only need to get to here with the Gusser runner with the ball. And yeah, it's 2 GFIs, but if you're playing well, you'll have saved a reroll. Ideally, you want to get to here. And that's a lot less effort. And yes, you don't have the strength and the guard to do that, but you can almost play it like a really conservative bash team, right? So you can set up, let's erase this. You can set up and plan your drive as if you're a bash team that just won't get good blitzes every now and again. So you can just go 1, 2, 3, assuming they're strength 3. If they're not, the debate on whether you take your hits, you want to take your hits if you at all can. If it involves putting a line route to here or to here, like that, to get your hits, do that, right? Because let's say you have 5 here, 6, 7, that leaves you 4 players, and you have 1 at the back with the ball, and that leaves you 3, like so, to screen. And so on your offense, you want to be taking your hits and keeping a wide screen. Okay, you want to keep a wide, you want to try and make it so that they have to take the exact wide zone to come in, because that limits their movement quite a bit. You want to have a 2 deep line that is quite difficult for them to pierce. This is especially true against elves. And against elves, it's a bit different because you want to bring the ball up. But against bash, I tend to keep the ball out of their range because then I can fight them 10v11, right? Because if you, let's say you have a cage, like you bring the ball to here and you go 1, 2, you have to have a 5 gauge because you know they're quick and they might, you know, come in and sack the ball. You need to have a 4. If you have a 4-man cage and the ball, you're fighting 5 players down, right? And even though you only need to make 2 squares, a good coach won't let you get those 2 squares 5v, 6v, 11. They won't let it happen, and you won't be able to get any progress. So the first real lesson of offense is to realize when you don't need a cage. And cages are important, but you have to realize when, let's say, you're here, you don't really need this player in the cage. They can go forward. Right? You need this guy unless they're about to overload, in which case they might even be better off up here, screening like this. And that leaves you two. And if you think about it, really, these two could be supporting a screen. So you don't even need them. So all of a sudden, you don't even need a cage. Right? So at the start of your turn, you want to be thinking, if you have had to cage, you have to be thinking, how loose can I get away with my cage? Because you're going to be losing players, right? You're going to need every player you can because you're armor 7. If that makes any sense, feel free to have questions at any point after watching this video. I'm probably going to not spend too much time talking and get into the game. A bit of offense 101, I suppose. I'm going to go through, and then we'll call it there. Because I think offense is quite hard. Defense, you can just think about setting up screens, making it so they can only get 1 square a turn. Your blitz on defense is going to be the one that gets you the most line rats free. So you have to make as few 3+ dodges as you can. And often it is best to leave your line rats down if they're in like this position. I said I was going to do offense, talk about defense. What we're doing, keep to offense. So yeah, for the 8-turn drive, it's going to be ball in the backfield. Ideally, if you think you can handle them with 9, then you're going to be vanity passing. So I'd have a gutter, and you have a thrower, so maybe your thrower and a passing gutter in the backfield to get a bit of SPP. As long as they're not under threat and you think you can handle them. But if you feel like you can't handle them, then feel free to not pass. Like, especially with Skaven, it's a 2+2+, so you got to be passing quite deep. So be careful when you're vanity passing. On your offense, you essentially want to hold. I'm going to erase this because that's not very useful. Let's say we want to do it without GFIs. Now we're doing some nitty-gritty. And obviously when you're playing, you're not going to be thinking this through. You're going to be watching the turn. Right? On an abstract, it looks a lot different than the actual Bloodbowl 2. So yeah, you want to set up so you're blocking like this guy to here, this guy to like here. Actually, let me do that in black. Makes sense, right? So this guy can go here. This guy can go here. This guy can go here. Alright, so what you're trying to do on your offense turn 1, because it's quite daunting, right? You have 3 LOS blocks on the board as your oyster. This is a good sort of setup for your turn 1. Assuming there's no guard, what you want to do is try and get a lock around the pieces. So like you bring a piece here, and a piece to here. You don't necessarily even need to blitz because you don't have as much space pressure, right? You don't need to blitz this guy down. If your blocks haven't knocked down the LOS, it's okay to blitz the last LOS piece down because this is their front line, if you will. And it's a problem if they stay on their feet because you're getting blocked back and they're able to take more space, which is not what you want them to do. So yeah, you're locking them down and trapping them in sort of tackle zones like this. So if you have a tackle zone line like this, let's say you have a piece here as well, so it extends a couple. You've already claimed this ground, and so you only need a couple more squares in 6 turns, and it's a lot more difficult for them. And it also means that their dodges out are going to be harder, so they won't try, and that essentially removes 3 pieces from the game. And that's something you're going to have to think about a lot on offense. Can you engineer a given turn so that even if you don't remove the piece from the playing field, if you knock them down and they're slow, then you have essentially removed them from the playing field for a couple of turns, right? Especially if they get out of position, if you're playing a slow team. So always look out for spots like that. But yeah, you want to slowly advance to front. They will probably try and stand up and fight you. So it's important that you don't have 6 guys on the front line. You don't go like X, 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 right? Because they all get based, it's quite difficult. You have to sacrifice your flanks to get in. So you want to have 2 or 3 out front, and then have the rest unbaseable so that they can come in and support and lift off. These are going to be line rats on the front. Even though they got us dodge easier, they're too important, so you keep them on as assists in the backfield. So yeah, that's a couple of things to think about on offense. Defense, I know you said you struggled, so we'll have a quick go over of some defense to setups very quickly. Let's go to setups. So I'll link you this, but there are a couple of good resources for offense and defensive setups, right? I don't like this longbow setup. I really don't like it if you're not exactly necromantic and have flesh golems. I think it's really, really quite weak. So don't use this one, please. Essentially, you want to be using this one, the Chevron, against agility teams, right? Ideally with a strength 3 piece here and a strength 3 piece here. Because they're going to want to blitz down the sides. So you want to have strength 3, strength 3, strength 3, strength 3, strength 2 there, strength 2 there, strength 2 there. Because if they blitz this tile, then it doesn't do anything, right? So they're never blitzing here unless it's for damage. Aggressive variant, I don't really get that. Defense, like, why? It just puts them further away. They're trying to. This is a 2-turn defense. It's an agi defense. I guess it could be work as Skaven. This is a variant of what I do. Actually, kind of probably smarter than the one I do. This is what I like, especially if you have kick. But it works against slow teams, even if you don't have kick. But anyway, this is like the Wood Elf setup. This is a really interesting asymmetric setup. This is the rule 1, D1. This is what you're going to be using when you don't have kick. This protect 5 setup. 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, and then like this, get runners and your best other player behind. Things like this. This is a nightmare, don't use that. Very quickly as well, offensive setups. There are no standard offensive setups, right? As you can see, there's no given thing here. You essentially want to work on knocking your 3 targets down, and that's sort of the gist of it, right? You can have a few. I think this is quite a useful document. It says what I've said in a bit more detail, so I think it's give it a read if you have the time. It's quite nice. So that's my recommendation for that. Should we look at your game now? I think we've talked enough about theory, and actually play some Blood Bowl. Well, watch some Blood Bowl, if you will. Where are we here? I've actually forgotten the team name. My bad. It's fine. Yeah, just Google Fumble setups and they're right here. So this is rebel.net. If you haven't been here already, this is the official website. This is where all the information is. College, you are in Europe D. We are at Rat again, the true crime story. Okay. So Rat again. No result. That is weird. When did he play? Oh, he must have played more than a week ago. Oh, that's a shame. Okay. Well, in that case, what I can do, essentially I can't access the replay. So this is what you do. If I dox myself on Twitch, whatever. So what you do is you go to Documents, you go to Blood Bowl 2, Profiles, this one. You have 2, just find one and click Replays, and you have all your replays. I'm going to need you to send me the replay of your game so I can look at it, because it's deleted off the system. You played it more than a week ago. So just have a look for it. try and remember the date and time you scheduled it. The time is the when the match ended, I think. So it'd be about an hour and a half after you played. Ideally, if you're a new coach, there's not too many videos. You can see I've got a lot of files here. So yeah, that's what you're going to need to do. So that's okay. That's not ideal, I suppose. That's sort of the main thing gone. Main sort of onus of the lesson. So what can I do here? Let me think. Well, I don't have a game to go over, but I can link you and show you some really good streamers of Skaven very quickly. If we go back to Twitch. So let's go to a couple of good resources. Actually, probably YouTube's better. Who's good? Andy David is good. Yeah, so here's a playlist of 20 CCL Skaven games. So yeah, this is a really good one. 7-0 win. Oh god, he's playing with a Rat Ogre. Okay, normally he's good, but he's playing with a Rat Ogre. He might be memeing. But it would still be a good resource if you want to see some good Skaven play. If we go to rebel.net, this is another really good, not rebel.net, Reddit Rebel. I think Dreamify did this, but essentially what I'm going to show you is the link to all the round of the playoff games with Skaven. I think it's Dreamify that does it. Dreamify. No. Okay, how about let's go to Rebel and playoff odd. Playoff video on demand. Because there was a thing. Yeah, playoff odds. Okay, great. They didn't bother doing that in the end. Oh, who casted that game? Can't remember. So I won't do this now because it's dragging on. But hopefully you've had a quick look at like basic Bloodbowl theory. And I will get back to you with some good games to watch. If you could send me your own game, that'd be great. Actually, what we can do is take a look at next week. That's what we can do. And have a look at how we're going to play our next game. So we're playing Wood Elves. Alright, this is kind of a favoured matchup for us. They've gone Tree Dance. Okay, they've gone the standard with no. Oh, they don't have rerolls. Oh, dude, this is going to be a win. So yeah, they're going to have a loner. They're going to have a tree. The tree is a problem. Almost to the point where this is useful. So let's go to their offense. Zoom in. Right, so let's say you have to attack first against Wood Elves. Bit of a nightmare, right? And they line up with a tree on the LOS. Tree, lineman, probably. Some assortment of offensive setup. Like so. Now against Wood Elves you are going to have to cage. Right? Because they have a big range. So this is where the throw is going to help you because you're probably going to make mistakes. And the thrower means that they're going to be able to not get 2 dice on you very easily. So I'm going to show you the main setup for a anti-leap cage if you don't know this already. So you have a corner here, corner here, corner here, like this, ball, then another player here. This can be vertical as well. So essentially what you have to worry about is their leap. And they don't have rerolls on the leap, so it's not too much of a threat, but it's useful to set up like this. And what this means is you're going to be the Bashir team, right? That's what you got to get your head around. So the tree has a movement range of 2. So we're going to want to avoid this sort of radius here. So what? 2. Yes, this is where we probably want to avoid. Right, we don't want to commit to the tree. We want to try and take our hits on armor 7 linemen who will probably die, or at least get knocked out or something. So carry the ball on the thrower, or the storm. Ideally, if you get a touchback, always give it to a storm vermin. You really want them leveled, and they're going to be better ball carriers because they have block. Like your storm vermin are your best ball carriers at the moment because they don't have strip ball at all. No strip ball for them. We just check. Yeah, no strip ball. So ideally, it's carried on a storm vermin, but obviously, it might not be worth the risk. Might want to do it on the thrower. I would probably do it on the storm vermin. So how are we going to go about this? So we want to score on turn 8. Set up a 2-1 grind. And the guard tree is a problem. So what we can do is we can put a chump here, sacrificial line right here. Well, that's way too narrow. What am I? Dot size. Yeah, a sacrificial line right here in case they roll a blitz. Then we probably want to go storm vermin, or storm vermin wrestle gutter. And then our first movement will be to come into here. If they give us this square, I don't think I take it. You can if you want, and then take a block here, block here. You don't need to do that. Let's replace this with an L. Hold up. Right, I'll tell you why. Actually, what do I want that? Because the tree has grab, doesn't it? Let's just check. Does that grab, right? No, it doesn't. No grab. Okay, this is excellent. So yeah, I've got an idea for you to play this out. So you have a line rat here. First time using this software. And then what you can do is take this block this way. And you do put the, hang on. So yeah, this is the hard work. This is going through and giving you examples. Eventually this will come naturally to you. You'll look at a setup in a team and think, okay, yeah, we'll do it like this. So we put one in here if we can. And then we will block into this gap like so, and then follow. And that, I mean, because the tree doesn't have grab, it means the tree has to slowly step this way. Yeah? And that means that we can go this way, and we get one less square. It will shift. This whole red square will shift one to the right, which would be really useful. And we'll take a storm vermin block there, and don't follow that up. Don't stick them on the tree. And we will slowly just screen it off. So against wood elves, you want to be having a screen. If the ball is deep, that's good. They're probably going to try and cut through you. So the trick is going to be to set up quite flat. So vermin, lineman. And then we're probably going to want something like thrower in the backfield. And like, this is whole idea. This was throwers way because I tend to use my thrower like a lineman. Because I like carrying more on the gutter runners personally. Because at the end of the day, thrower takes away gutter runner SPP. And storm vermin SPP. I think the gutter and the vermin are better pieces, but we have the thrower now, so we're working around it. 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 7 to play with, so I'll probably go with something like lineman, like gutter, and then 4 Gs like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 5 is 10, and then just a random line right in the middle like this. Maybe switch the line right in the thrower. So this means that they have to leap. Remember, they don't have rerolls. They can only come through one side. Sorry about that. Yeah, so this would be my sort of setup on offense against elves with no reroll. And your goal is going to be keep the screen wide. The best way they can take away your time is if they get around you. Let's say like, they overload this side with like 3 players. This isn't the end of the world, and the thing is you don't want to overreact and like run down here straight away, because then you can get surrounded and killed in. So what you'd want to do is set up an anti-leap cage like I showed you before, but make it an integral part of the team. You want the ball to be right up now. You want the front corners of the screen not based. Don't base them. Don't leave them in contact with another player at the end of your turn, because obviously that's the end of the cage. But probably hold the ball about here. If this goes well, the tree is going to be going that way, which is good. They're probably going to have to waste a blitz sorting that out. But it depends. You have to use your judgment a bit on it. But you want to make a nice big cage, bring it up to the middle so that if they come around the back, their players are behind the ball, right? If the ball is safe, it doesn't matter how many players they put behind you if they can't get the ball. They're just dead players. That's what you want. So even if you're in chat with them and they're running around you, feel free to say and like, oh, nice move or something like that. Just encourage them, because mind games. I'm a mind game coach. I make up for lack of skill with mind games. So in chat, if you're in voice with them, just like be annoyed that they've got behind you, even though the ball's safe, and they'll think it's a good thing, even though it's not. So yeah, that's my advice on that bit. And slowly just blitz. Be wary of the tree. If the tree looks like they're about to come in and be a problem, position it so that they'll come in and not base the ball in your cage. Because the problem with the thrower ball carrier is that he's only actually 3. Or position it so there's a gutter runner right next to it that they can't base, so he can just hand off on a 2+ and run. And ideally, you'll slowly grind them down. You'll take a storm vermin. It's important to take a storm vermin 2-life blitz every turn on an elf. Eventually, you will probably get at least a stun. If they give you 3 hits, take them. If they randomly base line rats, don't dodge the line rat. Bring over another line rat and take a 2-dice hit, as long as it doesn't compromise your cage. Cage comes first. So let's line out the priorities. 1 is cage, ball safety. That's what you're first looking at. Is the ball safe? Against wood elves especially. Is the ball safe? And 2, 3 hits. So leave a player base and you can hit them without losing cage integrity, then take the hit. And 3, probably actually no, that's probably step 3. Step 2 is going to be your storm vermin blitz. Yeah. Storm vermin blitz. This is sort of the turn order. And then 4, you don't even take your dodges most of the time. Actually, you kind of do, because they can dodge way easier than you can. So they will probably dodge anyway, but it forces a 2+ without a reroll. So I would be cautious, not dodge. I'd be careful to not dodge too much. You want to make them. They have no rerolls, so you want to make them roll as much dice as they can every turn. So in this matchup, it's kind of okay to be a bit base heavy. Normally you don't, but as long as they can't get easy 2-dice blocks, then feel free to get basey. If their only option is to dodge, great. If their option is to block, terrible for you. It's a bit swingy. But if you can find those spots where you think it's bad for them to block, I'm happy for them to block, they won't want to block, they'll only want to dodge, then feel free to base. And eventually you'll find that you've got rid of a couple of, it'll be about 9v9 or something like that. The tree might have, got rid of a couple of line rats permanently, you might have knocked out a couple of elves, but you'll find that they might have committed a player or 2 behind the ball who's now stuck behind the ball. So that's -3. Tree is on its own -4. They have to cover the width of the pitch with 8 players. So what that would be, say they have 8 players left or 9 players. That'd be like, well, tree's -1, right? So they're probably only going to have 10. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's going to be a gap somewhere because the tree will stay, right? As long as the tree can't become part of the screen, is basically what I'm saying. So you will find a gap. So don't worry too much about time pressure, because remember, you just need to get to this blue line and you're golden. If you get to this line, you're 100%. If you're at this line, you're almost 100%. you're like 80%. This line, you're at 90%. So there's no pressure at all. Just keep the ball safe, let them play. They will roll dice and make mistakes. The trick is, don't lunge forward unless you think you can screen it off, because you don't want to score on turn 7 because they can 2-turn and score back. You really want to score on turn 8. I think I'm going to call it there. I've spoken enough. Probably it's a bit rambly. I apologise for that. A couple of instances, I've had a couple of distractions to deal with, so I haven't been as coherent as usual. But I think it's a good primer. What I think I will do is upload this to YouTube, and then in the description of the YouTube video, I'll have links to various things. But yeah, have fun, and best of luck. I'll see you. I'll hopefully go through your replay. So if you could find the replay and send it to me, that would be ideal. So that would be your documents, Blood Bowl 2, profiles. Pick a profile, look in the replay folder. If it's empty, it's the other profile, because of course it is. And then, yeah, so you can send it to me, and then I can go through it and we can have a look. So I hope that's answered a couple of your questions. It's probably raised a lot of questions as well. So feel free to drop questions at me, and I'll try and answer them the best I can. And yeah, it's been a while since I played Rats, but they're a good team, and you should do quite well. So I'll end the stream here and get to uploading it. Oh man, that's a lot of text. Bye.